Hey guys, it's Bailey. Welcome back to the channel and thanks so much for tuning in to what is going to be a video all about my monthly beauty favorites. It's that time again. I'm going to be sharing all of the beauty products that I have been loving in the month of June. I'm a little late inching in here into July, but better late than never, right? Let's go ahead and dive in. First, let's start with foundation. In my efforts to kind of rank, I guess I'm trying a lot of powder foundations. As I've mentioned so many times before, it's just taking a lot of time. Mostly in the drugstore realm, I'm finding it really hard to find true pressed powder foundations from the drugstore. There are translucent setting powders or regular setting powders, loose setting powders, but not a lot of pressed drugstore foundations. So if you know of any, I recently picked up one from CoverGirl, I believe, and then I also got the L'Oreal True Match, but I don't think, it doesn't say it's supposed to be a foundation. All of this is neither here nor there, but if you happen to know of any good from the drugstore, leave them down below in the comments. But bottom line is, I've been trying a lot of pressed powder foundations, and as a result have come to love two over the month of June. The first of which is from Kat Von D. It's the Lock-It Powder Foundation, and mine is in the shade Medium 52. First of all, Kat Von D always kills it with the packaging. Sleek, but still very true to her design elements that she likes. And then on the inside here, you do have a section for a sponge that I've never used, along with a mirror in here if you want to touch up throughout the day. But then the foundation itself is, if I can get it out. Oh, there it is. The foundation itself is here. The formula here is a little bit drier than the next formula I'm about to talk about, so I think it's going to be a better fit for true oily skin folks as opposed to combo, whereas on me, if I don't use it with a setting mist every time to kind of help blend it in, it will kind of stick to some dry patches depending on how problematic my skin is being. Sticks to a little bit more texture, but the lasting power here is insane. And the coverage is super buildable, but still very natural looking. I absolutely love this. But for something a little bit more hydrating, yet still not overly greasy or dewy by any means, is the Cover FX Pressed Mineral Foundation, and this for me is the shade N35. Again, here you have, this actually reminds me a lot of, I don't have a whole lot of MAC products, but it reminds me a lot of how they used to anyway package their powder foundation. Very sleek, minimal, black, well, steely, deep gray packaging. Foundation is here, mirror there, and then again you lift it up to find a sponge inside. This, like I said, is a little bit more hydrating. It just feels a little bit more, slightly more, and emollient isn't really even the right word, but it just feels like there are some emulsifiers in there to help it spread a little more smoothly and evenly. I think it's going to be better for combo slash normal to maybe dry skin for that reason, but on oily skin might produce a little bit of excess shine because I do find it gives you a lit from within look, but still, again, so buildable, like up to full coverage, very layerable, but still natural looking and lasts all day. The one thing that I've been finding across the board with powder foundations, for the most part, but for the duds that I've found, is that with the warmer weather, they are amazing at lasting all day. If you're struggling with finding some liquids or creams that just cannot withstand the test of summer weather, these powders consistently just crush it throughout the day. So something to consider, especially as we still get further into summer here. In the Northern Hemisphere anyway. I suppose if you're watching from the Southern Hemisphere, welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in, but something to consider when you hit summer yourselves. Next up is concealer, and this one is no surprise. It's the Tarte Shape Tape Contour Concealer. Mine is in the shade Light Natural. This has been in the running for favorites. Well, not just in the running, it's actually been in my favorites pretty much every month since I got it. So what, the past 5 or 6 months maybe? Pretty much no competition here, but what has been harder to establish in my daily routine is applying this before the powder. I'm so used to applying a liquid and then the concealer and then setting it all, but it just, you know, you typically would apply the liquid under the powder. So when it comes to a powder foundation, I constantly find myself forgetting to apply my concealer first. But the funny thing with these powder foundation formulas is that on more than one occasion, I have forgotten to apply my concealer first, and these still apply well with liquid concealer sandwiched in between them. So often with powder formulas, I'll find that, you know, if you apply the liquid over the powder, it'll get a kind of barrier texture. Like you can tell where the meet, and it'll just become texturized, look very unflattering, especially, you know, when most of us are applying the liquid texture in their under eye area. And that hasn't been the case with either the Cover FX or the Kat Von D. So really kind of interesting. I wouldn't say that is like a blanket statement. I'm sure everyone's skin is different, but just a weird weird observation I personally found, and it's made it easier for my mornings because, try as I may, it's really hard to kick the habit of applying the foundation before the concealer. So luckily, these are kind of foolproof foundations for me. Next up is mascara. In the first part of the month, I've still been going hot and heavy with my Dior Show Pump-In Volume Mascara. Love, love, love this guy, and have for the past couple of months ever since trying it through Octoly. But I did happen to try, where is it? The L'Oreal Voluminous Lash Paradise. I've tried the waterproof formula, and I did a quick, I think it was a 60-second review that I can either, you tap the eye there to watch, or I'll link it in the description bar below. I did a review of it though, and kind of saw what the hype was about. It was really hard to remove though. But flash forward to a few weeks later and they sent me the non-waterproof formula, and it's totally different. I really wish I had just gone out and bought, seen what the hype was about myself, gone out and bought the regular formula, because it's totally different. It's way, way easier to remove. And just in general, I find it's a thinner formula, so it's easier to layer without getting clumpy, and it's a little closer to more of a feathery but still voluminous mascara, if that makes any sense at all. Bottom line is, I'm considering doing like a revisited or a take two review with these because they are so different, and I've actually been liking the regular non-waterproof Lash Paradise formula way, way more. To clarify though, I wouldn't say it's in any way similar to the Dior Pump-In Volume. The Dior is a much thicker formula. I find that I can run the risk of getting a little clumpy if I'm not willing to sit there for a little bit and work with it, but I personally love the level. It is that kind of day. I don't know, you might, if this seems familiar, I am wearing this look actually in the context of a full face wear test. So I'm shooting a couple things today, and if this is how the videos are going so far, we might be in trouble by the time it comes to check in at the end of the day. Oh. Anywho, what I was saying, would not say these formulas are comparable. I just am simply trying to say that I was using the Dior Show at the beginning of the month and then went back to try the non-waterproof formula of the Lash Paradise and happened to really like it. But I would say the Dior is thicker and takes a little bit more time to work with, but is totally worth working for what it does for your lashes in terms of like really amping up the volume and curl and somewhat length. I would say it's more about volume and curl. All right, moving on to the rest of the face. I have gone back to an old favorite bronzer. I've been traveling a lot and will probably continue to travel a lot in the month of July. And it's during those times, those trips when you're trying to pack a quick, concise makeup bag, there isn't a whole lot of room to test. It's more just like packing what you know works and what you know will get you through the day, that you kind of find your true favorites in a way. For me, in terms of bronzer, that has been the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer and Light Bronzer. And this is just, for me, it's one of those where it is kind of too, I do have to layer this up quite a bit, but it layers beautifully. And as a result, I find that it's almost foolproof in a way, because rather than, you know, getting too heavy and then ending up with this like orangey, streaky sort of mess on my face, it makes me take more care to layer up and really get it deeper where I want it and less where I don't, like on my forehead and temple, all my forehead, temples, and then, you know, like get deeper into the hollows of my cheeks for a true bronzer sort of look. This is just what's been working for me. Then for highlighter, I finally got my hands on the Maybelline Master Chrome Metallic Highlighter. This is in the shade Molten Gold. I don't know that they make any other shades. I placed an order on Ulta and got a ton of new drugstore products, so stay tuned for a What's New at the Drugstore. Typically I do like a haul or a review, but now that I started doing these full face wear test sort of things, I'm considering doing that. So let me know what you think about that in the comments below. But I ordered a ton of new stuff from the drugstore and this was among the bunch. I wanted to try this not just because it looks like an insanely good highlighter from the drugstore, and by insanely good I do mean intense. Like, I don't think this is going to be for the person that prefers a subtle highlighter. This is definitely a glow to the god sort of situation thing going on in this pan. So I wanted to try it not just for that, but also because in looking at other people using it, it struck me as being so similar to a highlighter that I recently talked about here on the channel and said I wanted to compare to some drugstore alternatives that look similar. The Dior Skin Nude Air Luminizer in the shade 3. There is no actual shade here, it's just shade 3, and basically it's this golden shade. So I want to do a dupe or dud comparing the two. Honestly, I have been using the Maybelline Master Chrome so much recently that I haven't reached for the Dior to be able to tell you here and now whether or not they're dupes. I do want to, you know, try them and when I do the dupe or dud, I like to wear one on one side of my face and one on the other so you can really understand, is it a dupe in the pan, is it a dupe in the swatch, or can you actually wear it on your face and not be able to tell the difference? So that video is also coming. it's a long to-do list. It's gonna be a long month, but a fun month. So just know that's coming up, and also just know that I've really been liking the Master Chrome highlighter. Totally worth it if you have seen a lot of people talking about it, heard all the hype. I would say, you know, for the drugstore price, I forget what it was. I can't be more than 10. If it is more than 10 bucks, then we might have a talk, but I don't think it was more than 10 bucks. And so it's pretty worth it. Last up are the lips, and I've been using a couple of lip products consistently, but none more consistent than another Dior product, actually. This is the Dior Addict Lip Glow in the shade 001 or Pink. I believe there are 3 or 4 of these shades available, and I forgot in the video that I talked about this in, I forgot to mention which shade I have, so for reference it is pink, hence the pink packaging. But basically it is a very subtle lip balm that adds a hint of tint to your lips and is actually a color changing lip balm, so it will intensify and shift in color according to the pH of your lips. Not to repeat what I've said in other videos, but just for a quick reference in case you haven't seen those, I got this from Octoly and I was compelled to try it because I recently tried also from Octoly the Givenchy black color changing lipstick, and I loved the deep berry tone it gives. Like, unlike a lot of color changing lipsticks where they'll turn your lips in some cases a really unflattering shade of bright pink, this had a hint of black tint to it, so it really toned it down. I think made it a little bit more wearable, a little bit more flattering, and generally I like the balmy finish it gave to the lips. But after trying, so I wanted to try another luxury color changing lipstick. In the Dior came to the picture, and I find this is infinitely better in terms of texture and treatment wise. Like, it's a better moisturizer for your lips and it's more comfortable to wear. I will wear this, I'll apply it first before I put my makeup on, so it lasts and kind of has time to sit on my lips and really hydrate them before either wiping it off. But more often than not, if I'm being honest, I will just layer on another lip product over top because I don't want to remove it. And as a result, I don't know what's more effective for you to show you that I literally have this much left in my tube, or to wind it all the way down so you can see it's darn near empty. And one of you even said this in the video where I talked about it, where you said you loved it, but boy did you run through it quickly. And so I get what you mean by that. I am in the process of trying quite a few other color changing lipsticks in an attempt to try a lot more than just the Givenchy and the Dior. I bought Lipstick Queen because of a lot of you guys' recommendations, and then I also bought some even cheaper, like, you know, $5 or $7 for 3 different shades of color changing lipsticks just to see how those compared to all of them. So I am still on the hunt, but it is going to be hard to put this down just because of how well it works. And I just used the tail off of it, so I couldn't not include it in this video. I will say a close second that I'm also wearing right now, as I'm in between 2 lip colors I'm currently testing for this full face wear test, is the limited edition shade from the Urban Decay Heat collection that recently came out this month. This is the shade Fuel, and it is the neutral cream finish from the collection. When I first tried this, I didn't think it was going to be for me. I thought it was like too maybe warm peach or too something for my skin tone. I was not in love with it. I much preferred like the metallic bronze or red. Well, the red was kind of patchy, but mostly like the metallic shades over this guy. But as I've been filming a couple of looks for like a 4 or what will ultimately maybe even be a 5-in-1 tutorial coming using the Urban Decay Naked Heat palette, I've been reaching for this and then reaching for it outside of those looks as well, just because I found that it is so versatile in going with so many different looks. So kind of an unintentional favorite in that way, and worth mentioning now because the whole lipstick range and the eyeliner range are in fact limited editions. So if you have been considering getting your hands on it, I would recommend it. I don't know if you can buy them individually though, because I would recommend buying just this one by itself if you can. And that's it for me. I feel like I got through this kind of quickly, but as I'm looking at my time, I have been talking for quite a bit. So hope it wasn't too long and rambly, but I just love favorites and I wanted to tell you all about them. So I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Let me know what you have been loving in the comment section below. Be sure and check out any of the videos that I might have mentioned here that you might be interested in. Again, click the eye up there or the links in the description bar below. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye guys.